Okay, so today we're going to be talking about styling our human hair wigs three different ways. So I'm going to show you three different ways to style them. What's really important when we're styling is that we're always using a heat protector. So this is Davines Melu Shield. It has heat protection up to 400, I believe, but it's just a mist. So I just mist it above where I want it to go, and I make sure that I make my way all the way around my head. I've already done it on this one. But any heat protector that you have is great. So for her, I really like a loose, undone, bendy, curly wave. So nothing too formal, more of an everyday wave. So I am going to go about 1.5 to 2 inch pieces at a time. And I just use my iron to glide along the hair. And then I start my curl. I then release the first curl and continue on to the next. Release, continue on, and straight down. And I'm going to make my way all the way around the head with different size sections between 1 inch and 1.5 to 2. I might even do some too. So I like to warm up the hair first, as I call it, before I start my curl. And I'm holding my curling iron vertically. And like I said, once I have one curl in, I'm releasing the other, gliding down, and then I'm just pulling that straight. So my goal with this is to elongate the curl. So I'm not looking for anything big, anything bouncy. I'm looking for just a nice beachy, let's call it. Beachy curl is kind of the best description for that. So this is one type of style. I'm going to continue on around the hair. Now you'll notice here I don't actually use clips. I'm just grabbing the hair as I go. If you would prefer sections, you can still do sections. You'll just section out your hair in jaw clips or any type of clips that you have at home and work your way around the clips section by section. I prefer not to use clips because I like a really undone look. So I don't want it to be perfectly placed. I want this to be a very, very casual look. So you can choose how you do that. I'm going to continue on and then I will come back and I will show you the finished look. I'm going to show you one more though, because I do want to note something as I just did that. So again, I don't want volume. So if you wanted volume, you could lift the hair up. I don't want volume. So I'm pulling the hair down and I'm starting my curl pretty low. So I'm not trying to create lift up here because I don't want lift. Okay. So keep that in mind deciding when you're going to do your style, what route and what type of curl finish that you're looking for. So a few other things to note as I am coming to the end of this wig are the temperature of my iron. So the temperature of this iron is only set to 320. Okay. And that's because I want a really loose finish. I want a soft finish. I don't want anything too crazy, but I'm also trying to preserve the hair. So this hair does not get nourishments from our scalps like our bio hair does. So we have to be really delicate and really careful when working with our human hair wigs if we really want to try to get as much longevity out of them as possible. The other thing that I like to note is that when I get to the front of the face, I always curl in the same pattern. So when I'm at the back, I don't care so much. When I'm at the sides, I always want to curl the same way. So I'm choosing to open my face up with my curl. So I'm choosing to curl away from my head. And if you wanted to curl into your face, you just need to know that that's going to close off your face. But then you would flip your curling iron the other way. So I am making sure my clamp is forward because I am curling backwards. If you are curling into the face, you would hold your iron the other way with your clamp at the back and you would curl forward, okay? So those are just a few key things to know about curling iron direction. I just like to use my barrel here to smooth out all of those hairs through there that we can't control in wigs because they all have a return hair. Okay, so cool thing about styling wigs is when you do style them, it's not a frequent event. So like your bio hair, you need to wash and style if you have it every couple days or every day. And with wigs, you only need to do it when it needs ready and when it needs to be restyled. So it's definitely nice for that. While I have my curling iron, I'm going to talk to you guys about if your return hairs are really popping up, how you can use your tools to smooth them out. So if you've just washed your wig and you feel like it's popping out through here or there's some return hairs, you just use your curling iron or flat iron. Curling iron is better because it's right there. And you just are going to smooth out from top to bottom. And this is going to put all of those return hairs nice and down, nice flat finish on the wig. Okay, you can also do the same thing up here if you want a little more lift. So you would grab your section and you would do the opposite. Again, I wouldn't do that on your head because you could burn yourself, but just use your hot tool this way. If you have a hot combs are also really, really great for that. I'm going to grab a brush so I can show you what the finished look looks like. So I like to undo my waves with a bigger brush, either a vent brush or anything that has space between the bristles. I also like to come from underneath, but it really, whatever you're used to doing is fine. So I'm coming from underneath and then doing a comb out on the top as well. I prefer no product in my wigs until afterwards, and then I really like to use an oil. I like my wigs to feel nice and soft, so I don't use a mousse or a hairspray or anything like that because that's just not my jam. But you absolutely can use any product on your wigs that you would normally use on your hair. Okay. So this is our first look. She looks good. I love her coloring. So I actually wanted to show you what a canvas head looks like. So I mentioned in the blow dry video that we don't want to put a wet wig on a canvas block. So this is what that is. It's a styrofoam block but wrapped in canvas. So now that the wigs are dry, I can definitely put them on there, but I did want to show you guys that so that you would know what I meant when I said in the blow dry video that that was a not to do. Okay, so I also like to make sure that they're kind of parted where I'm going to be wearing the wig. This wig still I need to cut and really finish off, so we're not going to pay attention to that. We're also going to use a T-pin, so I just find a little hole and I pop her in. Now this is a very low density wig, so again I don't need to section her out because she is very low density. We're going to do a straight look. I'm going to do the same thing with my heat protector. So I'm just misting. I'm not going too close. I'm staying pretty far away. So that's what a mist is pretty far away. Okay. And we're going to comb that all in now. Where's that? So just combing her out, making sure she is nice and flat. And then we're going to go in with our flat iron. Now I'm going to go a little higher than what I did on my wavy girl because I want it really sleek. Okay, so I'm just grabbing pieces. I'm putting my comb underneath, grabbing my flat iron, and just slowly but quickly, slowly with continuous movement, working my way down that hair. So we don't ever want to stop our hot tools on the hair because heat will absolutely rid color. We don't want that. So we definitely want to make sure we have continuous movement as we work our way from the root to the ends. Okay. And same thing, if I feel like that section's too big, I'm just grabbing underneath. If you want to keep a comb or a clip with you, you can absolutely do so. This is just, for me, a little easier, but you need to do what works best for you. So again, really slow movements, but not actually stopping. My flat iron is always moving. All the way to the ends, okay? Because I want that really, really sleek look. Now, we're going to talk about these little return hairs here when you're wearing straight, because you will be able to see them a little bit more when you're wearing the hair straight or smoothed out. So we're going to talk a little bit more about them. Again, they're unavoidable. They are going to happen because the hair has to be pulled through the lace and there has to be a part of each hair strand left, which is why they're called return hairs. So unfortunately, there's no going around them. Some wigs have shorter returns, some have longer returns, but every single wig has a return hair. So when we are using a flat iron, we can see that here. So that one really wants to pop up. But these little guys, they actually help to make the wig look more natural because they are mimicking baby hairs. And we all have baby hairs. So I just want you to be aware of them. And I want you to be aware that you can bend them with a flat iron. Okay, so that it's going to sit much smoother. But we don't ever want to cut them. We don't ever want to rid them. That is never the goal. The goal is just to tame them, okay? So I'm curving at the root so that that return falls down. But again, I have baby hairs. So they look more natural when we leave them. It's just learning to work with them. So that is how we straighten our wigs. Again, she's not cut, so I need to cut her and finish her off. But she is my bob, and I really love her color. Okay, so this third and final curl is what I like to call like a formal Hollywood kind of curl. So with our wave, we hold our curling iron vertically. With this, we actually hold it horizontally. So I'm still smoothing over each section. I am taking pretty big sections because I don't want it tight. Although I do have my curling iron a little bit higher. I now have it at 350. And once I have curled it all under, I am flipping my rod up and releasing it down, okay? So this is going to curl into to the face. So I kind of like, I think it's like old Hollywood vibes, right? Like where we're curling in our face and we're creating that really nice wave, but detailed wave instead of tousled wave like the other one. So this is a 1.25 curling iron. Depending on the length of your wig will determine, what size you want to be working with or that you tend to work with more. But typically a 1.25 or a 1 inch is my go-to. I don't go smaller than that, and I don't typically go bigger than that. But okay, so I'm at the bang, and same thing. I'm still holding horizontally, and I'm still flipping my section over, making sure all of those hairs are in there, and then pulling it out. This is the start of a layer. So I'm actually going to grab some of these pieces and just redo this section super quickly. Just that little bit there to get them all under. Okay, and then when we come to this side, it's the same thing. So I'm taking my pretty big sections. I am horizontal, holding my curling iron, making sure all of these ends are in the iron. And I'm not holding super long because, again, I don't want this too formal. I'm going to leave out that front chunk. So I'm smoothing out each section with my hands first, which I just find really helps me. Grabbing my piece. Those little hairs that came out, I'm going to push over there so that I know I have to get them. Now this I'm going to put in two pieces actually. This one is parted over pretty far off to the side, so I do have a little more layer on this side. Okay, so last piece. Okay, now the key with this style is that we actually let it cool down. So we don't want to go right into raking it out. We want it to cool down. So when we touch the section, we want to make sure that there is zero heat and that it's nice and cool to touch. So that is super important. So this side is nice and ready. The back is nice and ready. But this is still feeling just a little bit warm, so it really just needs another minute. Okay, so now that it's ready, we're going to use a different style of brush. We're going to use a brush that has no bristles. So, or sorry, not no bristles, that has no balls on the ends of the brush. So more of a paddle brush style. And we're going to come under the section and just hold our hand there and undo the curl. Grab another section, so mini curls in one. Okay, under the section. And out. And we're just going to continue our way around the head, doing that. So those are the three types of styles that I find are the most requested and most used in the salon and on wigs. So I wanted to share those with you so that you could see some variations, so that you have options when styling. especially when you have an event or something that you want to change the look of your wig and restyle it. This is where this look comes in really handy. And it just looks good, you know, just looks finished and styled and just different from every day. So anyways, I hope that you liked that. If you have any specific styles that you want to see, please leave a comment and I can definitely show you different ways of styling. But as you can see, it's beautiful.